All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that, affects every single one of us, attractiveness. But let's just forget about genetics for a second or anything else you can't change. What we're really focused on here are those secret, unspoken habits, the things that might be pushing people away without you even realizing it. And really, it all kicks off by challenging one huge assumption.
So yeah, let's start right there. What if the biggest factors in how attractive you seem have absolutely nothing to do with the face you were born with? Seriously. What if it's all about the little things you do every single day? Or maybe even more importantly, the unattractive habits you finally stop doing?
And honestly, that brings us to the main idea of this whole thing. It's summed up perfectly with this one phrase: behavioral attractiveness wins. It's this idea that your habits, your actions, even the energy you put out there, all of that is way more powerful than, say, your bone structure. It's all about what you can actually control.
Okay, so let's jump into our first part, which is all about the most immediate stuff, your physical signals. This is about what people are picking up from you in those first few seconds, often before you've even opened your mouth.
First on the list is what we're calling the silent communicator. And look, this isn't just about looking a little sloppy. It's way deeper. It's about the psychological message you're constantly sending out. Things like slouching, crossing your arms, always looking down, these behaviors don't just make you physically smaller. They're screaming a message to the world on a really primal level that you lack confidence and presence.
Just take a look at these two paths here. The difference is about so much more than just posture, right? The closed-off person on the left, they're basically broadcasting defensiveness and, frankly, disinterest. But the present person on the right, they're communicating openness, self-assurance. It's like one is a brick wall and the other is an open door.
And this is the thing, right? The crucial point. Is this advice, hey, stand up straight? Is it boring? Oh yeah, it's extremely boring. But does it work? Unfortunately, yes, it absolutely does. Because your body language is talking for you whether you want it to or not. And those people who seem effortlessly attractive, they've just mastered this silent conversation.
All right, next up, we have the non-negotiable. And this is all about your overall presentation. And let me be clear, this has nothing to do with expensive brands. It's about basic effort, basic hygiene, because that stuff sends a super powerful message about how much you value yourself. Think about it. If your whole presentation kind of suggests you don't value yourself enough to even try, it makes other people subconsciously ask, well, why should I?
And here are some of those specific signals that just scream, I've stopped caring. And trust me, people notice this stuff. They might not say anything to your face, but all these little details, they create this invisible barrier, this quiet distance. Why? Because they communicate a basic lack of respect, both for yourself and for whatever situation you're in. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We're moving from the physical stuff to the verbal, with part 2, the conversation killers. And these are exactly what they sound like. The habits that just totally sabotage your interactions and stop any real connection from ever getting off the ground. And first on this list is the energy vampire. Come on, we all know one, right? This is the person where every single conversation is just a long list of complaints. Psychologically, what's happening is they're framing themselves as a constant victim, which signals they have no control over their own life. It's like they've weaponized their bad mood, and man, it is absolutely exhausting to be around. And check this out, this really breaks down the social consequences. You've got the drain, who just exhausts people, and that leads to what the source material calls strategic distance. Fewer invites, shorter phone calls. But then you have the builder. They deal with their problems without making them everyone else's burden. And the result? People are actually drawn to that resilience. They're not pushed away by the negativity.
All right, next up is a truly modern plague, the connection void. It's that simple, but totally devastating act of telling the human being right in front of you that a glowing screen is more important. And this is so much more than just being rude. It's a form of social invalidation. It just shatters that fundamental human need for presence and makes people feel completely and utterly devalued.
And that really is the brutal truth, isn't it? While you're down there scrolling and checking notifications, actual moments are happening. Real connections are being made. People who are genuinely attractive are present. They put the phone away and they engage with the world. And by the time you finally look up from that screen, the moment's gone.
And our last conversation killer is the conversation hijacker. Oh, we've all met this person. This is the one who's constantly interrupting or finds a way to turn every single story back to themselves. They're not actually listening to you. They're just waiting for a pause so they can jump in and talk.
And what that really reveals is this deep, deep need for validation that just completely overrides any ability to form a real connection.
So, is this kind of behavior boring for other people? Oh, it's devastatingly boring. But does it really matter? Well, let me ask you this. If you ever find that people just don't open up to you anymore, or that your conversations always seem to stay on the surface, maybe you should ask yourself, is it because they've learned that with you, they're just not going to be heard?
All right, let's get to our final section. Part 3 is all about building a silent reputation. These are the habits that are kind of working in the background. You know, the ones that are shaping how people see you over the long haul.
First up is the ghost. And this is not about being busy, okay? This is about being unreliable. When you're constantly breaking your commitments or just bailing on plans at the last minute, you're doing way more than just wasting someone's time. You're literally chipping away at the trust in that relationship. You become the person who just can't be counted on.
And the difference here is just, it's so stark, and it plays out over time. You've got the excuse maker who just slowly destroys their own reputation until people just stop asking. They stop relying on them. But then you have the reliable person. They build trust. Their word actually means something, and because of that, their relationships are rock solid.
And finally, we've got the boring default. This is basically the state of having nothing really going on, besides work and Netflix. And look, it doesn't make you a bad person at all. It's just about lacking that depth that comes from being curious, having passions, having hobbies. It signals that you have a growth mindset, that you're still out there exploring the world and yourself. And that kind of dynamic energy is just inherently interesting to be around.
This right here is the key takeaway. It is not about having more time. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. The difference is, interesting people choose to use some of that time to build layers to who they are. They get curious, they learn things, they try new stuff. They're actively investing in their own depth.
So, okay, we've looked at all of these unattractive habits. What's the solution? What do we do? Well, it's not some huge, complicated gesture. The real formula here is just about making small, consistent changes.
And here it is. The whole thing boiled down to a simple 3-step formula. Number 1, master your physical signals. That's your posture and your presentation. Number 2, become a generous listener. Cut out the complaining and the conversation hijacking. And number 3, build a reputation of depth. Be reliable and go find some passions.
And let's end on this one really powerful thought. See, attractiveness isn't really about adding something new to your life. For the most part, it's about subtraction. It's about eliminating the behaviors that are pushing people away. So the question I want to leave you with is pretty simple. Which unattractive thing are you